Hey everybody, and welcome to this $1,400 stimulus check update, third stimulus package update, the American Rescue Plan that Joe Biden and his administration has been putting together, trying to get this through Congress. There's some major changes that have actually been taking place within this, and one of the pieces of legislation that was most likely going to set up Congress to be in an all-out fist fight and potentially just set up days and possibly weeks of arguing and debating, looks like it's been taken care of, and how much that could actually speed up the process of this getting passed. Hey everyone, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind. This is a new YouTube channel, and right now I am covering these stimulus package updates because honestly it's of great interest to myself, and I've been learning so much, and I hope you guys have been as well. But if you are new to the channel, go ahead, click that subscribe button, and don't forget to tap the bell notification icon as well. That way you'll be notified when I release a new YouTube video, which I do, of course, when I get new information. And this past weekend, there's definitely been some more information. And honestly, best thing you can do to support a new YouTube channel like this is participating in the comments section and also giving it a big thumbs up, smashing that like button. It really helps out with that YouTube algorithm. All right, well, let's get into it. All right, so very early on Saturday morning, like really early Saturday morning, the House of Representatives passed the legislation of this $1.9 trillion stimulus package. It passed with a vote of 219 to 212. The yeses were all Democrats and the noes were all Republicans, plus 2 Democrats actually voted against it. But it still passed. And if you watched my last video, there was a piece of that looked like it was setting this next part of the process up for failure, or at least a lot of delays and things that could potentially hold this back for a long period of time. That being the $15 an hour minimum wage hike. Now, why is that a problem? Well, because even though the House passed it, they're sending this bill over to the Senate. In the Senate, they need every single Democrat to vote for it, or it will not pass. And as of right now, there's 2, possibly 3, that wouldn't vote for a bill if it had an increase in minimum wage. So once the House passed it, the Democrat senators, including Bernie Sanders, actually got busy kind of drafting what they called a Plan B. Now, this Plan B is what I basically made my video about last time, where they were going to write in penalties and tax penalties to companies that didn't pay their employees a certain wage at certain time periods. Well, we just heard over this weekend that Bernie Sanders is kind of walking away from it. Those Democrats that were crafting that language are actually backtracking on it, and it looks like now that they're just going to simply strip away that $15 an hour wage hike from this bill as it goes to the Senate. Now, this alone will probably take off days, even possibly weeks of arguing and debating and, things that Washington does best. And so this week, Chuck Schumer and the Senate are basically getting their ideas of what they would want to go into their bill. So this is when the senators are going to add amendments to it and add other things that they're going to then vote on. But here's the thing that delays it a little bit, but not as much as it could have been. See, the Senate has to put this together, which is going to include pretty much everything that's already been passed by the House of Representatives, add in their own amendments, vote on it, and once it passes, which it looks like it would pass, as long as it didn't have that $15 an hour rate hike in there, it looks like it's going to pass. But then what happens is, see, there's 2 different bills. So the Senate passed one and the House of Representatives passed another. So what's going to happen is that the Senate is going to have to take their bill, pass it back to the House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi is going to have to take that up for a vote again and basically make it so that in a joint committee, they are passing basically the same bill. And if you're looking for this to go through quickly, then Nancy Pelosi's comments will probably make you a little bit happier, because she said, regardless of what we passed, if the Senate comes back and passes something of their own, we will follow suit and pass whatever they passed. And the Democrats are now saying that time is of more importance than what is actually in this bill. And it's kind of interesting they say that, but they are kind of up against the deadline. March 14th is when some of the unemployment benefits will end for millions and millions of people. They're up against that deadline because they don't want that on their hands to let that lapse and have that be any kind of media story. So what they're going to try to do is get this passed by both the House and the Senate and get it to Joe Biden's desk for signature before then. Because not only are they looking to not have those benefits lapse, but it's written into this bill that they will actually be increased. So instead of a $300 per week unemployment benefit boost, it's going to be $400 per week unemployment benefit boost. And not only that, it will most likely be extended through August, possibly September. And of course, this bill isn't just about unemployment. This will include the big searched item, which is stimulus checks, the $1,400 stimulus checks that will be going out to everybody making under $75,000 as a single, $150,000 as a couple. It will also include $1,400 checks to dependent children and adult dependents. That's something that was left out of the last two stimulus packages. And of course, if you're a family, you have children, there's another part of this that'll be of big interest to you. And now we're talking about monthly stimulus checks. This comes in the form of expanded child tax credits. So now, rather than getting the child tax credit at tax time, what they're going to be doing is taking, first of all, expanding the child tax credit, taking a portion of that, about half of it, and allowing you to take it in the form of monthly payments from this July, which is when it would start, up until December of 2021. So if you have a child, a dependent under the age of 17, you'd be looking at getting $250 per month for that child. And if they're under the age of 6, you'd be getting $300 a month for that child. That basically equates to half of the child tax credit. The other half will be paid out in the form of the tax credits when you get your taxes done, when you get your tax returns done for your 2021 taxes. So there's a lot of stuff that's being included in this bill that a lot of people would like to see this passed as quickly as possible, especially before that March 14th deadline. Keep an eye on that. You're probably going to start seeing that in the mainstream news media, March 14th, March 14th, March 14th. The Democrats definitely want to pass this by then and get things moving, getting these stimulus checks out. Another part of that is because when they saw what the stimulus checks did in January, when they went out, consumer spending across the board went up about 2.5%. They would love to see that money start flowing into the economy in springtime before summer. And not only that, help out the people that have really been struggling. And keep in mind, Democrats are doing this essentially by themselves, as Republicans are not supporting this big of a spending plan, which kind of sets up an interesting time, because right after this passes, which I'm sure it will, they're going to be talking about this fourth stimulus package, an infrastructure package. What is that going to include? I can't wait to hear what that could or may not include, including $200 per month benefits to Social Security, those on SSDI. It's kind of been rumored that because it was passed over for this stimulus check and essentially made a lot of people not very happy, that there's a possibility they might try to include it in their next infrastructure bill. Same thing with $15 an hour minimum wage. But my opinion is that it's not likely going to go through, because they're going to have the same fight that they did in this stimulus package. And last time I saw something on the mainstream news, they were pushing an infographic that showed that about 82% of the population support this stimulus plan going through, with 89% of Democrats supporting it and as low as 60% of Republicans supporting it. And one of the Republican lawmakers came out and said, well, of course they're supporting it. You're paying them thousands of dollars. Of course they're going to support it. And it was interesting because I put a poll out on my community tab, I believe last week, which basically asks, do you support this much spending or this much debt if it didn't include direct payments to people? And I thought it would be more like a 50-50 split. Turns out, at least according to you guys, with a couple thousand votes on there, 80% would not support this stimulus plan if it didn't include direct checks going out directly to the people. So I just thought that was really interesting when you compare kind of what the mainstream media is saying versus some of these internet polls that I thought was really interesting to see. All right, real quick announcement. I have a video coming out probably in the next day or so. It's going to be about Bitcoin. So if that topic interests you at all, make sure you hit the bell notification icon and make sure you're subscribed so that you'll get that notification. It's going to be about Bitcoin and what we could be looking at here in the next year in terms of price, adaptability, and all that. So if that interests you, make sure you're on board for that. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate you watching this video. And don't forget, best thing you can do to support this channel, give this video a big thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next video.